going on, dudes and dudettes? So yes, Tyrese Proctor, the very young guard, he should have been a senior in high school this year, as I always mention, out of Australia. But yes, it looks like he's actually returning for his second year at Duke, which is pretty cool. Obviously, I don't think physically he's ready. I know he eventually got better throughout the season, statistics-wise, but overall, I think he could use one more year to get a little bit bigger, better in all aspects of his game, and he was getting hot right at the correct time. So as long as he can still continue to do that, I think Duke will be well off next year, because they have a lot of, like, at least 5 talented dudes coming in next year, and that's if they bring in any more guys through the transfer portal, which I've heard they're already talking to some people as well. And we'll see who ends up staying. We haven't heard yet about Derek Lively, Kyle Filipowski, Jeremy Roach, either as of this point. Mark Mitchell also, so we'll see, but definitely looking forward to those decisions whenever they happen. And then another player who's the main older guy on the team, Ryan Young, transferred from Northwestern and still somehow had 2 years of eligibility left, even though he was a 4-year player at Northwestern. He is returning for his final year. This must be his COVID year or whatever it is, something like that they get. So he pretty much knows he's not going to get drafted into the NBA, but might as well try to win a championship in his final year of eligibility in college. So not a bad guy to have on your team, especially coming off the bench. I was a bit more worried when I thought he might be starting, but yes, luckily he is coming off the bench and being a rock solid dude doing that as well. So excited about those two guys. And then ex-Speed USC receiver Nelson Agholor has recently signed with the Baltimore Ravens. Kind of surprising for them a little bit, even though they need wide receivers up there anyways, because they've been pretty bad at drafting them. But congrats to him. I think he was recently with the Patriots or one of those teams, something like that. So at least he's still working, and congrats to him. I wish Chargers got him because he's a pretty fast dude. I think it's for a 1-year deal. And then 2 of those incoming freshmen for Duke that I mentioned were recently, I think they're doing like the McDonald's All-American game tonight. And excuse me, leading up to that, they do like a 3-point contest, dunk contest, some other type of event stuff before the game yesterday. And I believe, 2 Duke guys ended up winning the main competitions. There was a dunk contest, excuse me, and Sean Stewart, one of the top 5-star guys going to Duke, was in it, and he ended up winning the whole competition, so that was pretty cool. And then Jared McCain, the ex-point guard from Corona Centennial, pretty close to out here, ended up winning the 3-point contest as well. So adding those 2 type of crazy athletic and very good overall offensive players with Tyrese Proctor as of this second, it's looking pretty solid. A pretty nice championship building team already going for Duke in Coach Shire's second year, of course. So overall, looking forward to it and love the talent coming into Duke next season. And then Isaiah Collier, the top 5-star point guard coming into USC, was recently interviewed because he's at that McDonald's All-American stuff as well. And he was asked about Bronny James, who's obviously in and around the area, Southern California, obviously, because his dad plays for the Lakers. But he asked if he would be trying to recruit, and he said, of course he is. He's trying to tell James to stay home, which obviously going to USC, which I know he had in his top schools as well. So as a USC fan, I think it'll be cool to have some more, spotlight and attention on the program, especially the basketball program. Excuse me, but I don't know, it could be a major headache and circus and all that stuff. And I don't know, it depends too if the NBA changes rules at some point. It ends up allowing these guys to go right from high school to the NBA. So I don't know, we'll see. But either way, if he's on USC's roster, it'll be pretty interesting overall. And then Brandon Staley and Tom Telesco are at the NFL owners meetings doing a lot of interviews and stuff about the upcoming season and the draft and all that. And Brandon Staley recently mentioned a couple contracts that the Chargers are pretty much ongoing as of this second, especially with Justin Herbert's big-time extension coming up I know they technically, this year is his 4th year. They could get the 5th-year option, which is obviously why you draft a quarterback in the first round the following season, and he's still on a pretty nice low deal, which I'd like, especially because you could still add a lot of good talented players around him. It's just a year after that is when the extension will kick in, and it will be a pretty high price tag, but the best thing is to get it done first, because every time those quarterbacks, I think he's in like with Joe Burrow as well. I doubt Tua is going to get a big contract like them, but if you get it done before Joe's, then it'll be a little bit cheaper than Joe's, because his agents will want to up whatever Herbert got, as they always do. Like I said, I hope Herbert extends like how Mahomes did, where it's like a 10-year deal, you're going to get $400+ million or 500, whatever it is, something like that. I don't know if he's worth, that high of an amount. If he even went to 300 to 400 million, I think that would be a pretty good deal for the Chargers over that 10-year span, because obviously he would be outplaying that contract, as he is pretty good so far early in his career. And I think Brandon Staley mentioned Austin Eckler's contract negotiations and him asking for a trade as well, and it looks like it's trending in the right direction as far as them working on a deal for Eckler to keep him around on the Chargers, which is nice. He's obviously one of the better running backs out there, not only fantasy, but better overall running backs in the NFL. So I think it's kind of dumb if they don't extend him just a little bit to give him some more guaranteed money. That'll make him a bit more happier, and I think this whole contract stuff could go away. So hoping for the best, but we'll see with the Chargers' 2 top offensive guys. So we'll find out. Then Luke Kennard, an ex-Duke player, went off in the NBA the other day. He had 30 points, and obviously all came from the three-point line, because he was 10 of 11 from the three-point line, which actually set the Grizzlies' three-point record in total three-pointers made, and an NBA record where he was shooting at least 90+% on his three-point field goal percentage as well. So obviously, I've always talked about this guy, that he's a very sneaky, streaky shooter like this, and he isn't the most athletic. He might hurt you on the defensive side. Still dealing with this throat stuff. But yes, overall, he is still a very talented three-point shooter, and obviously I was glad the Clippers traded him, because he is in a better place and not on my rivals team. But yes, I don't know why the Lakers don't make a play for some of these guys, him, Grayson Allen, guys like that, because even Grayson went off the other day with like 25 or 29, something like that, and he had like the first 11 or 13 points to start the game for Milwaukee against Utah, which was awesome. I might throw that video up separately, but overall, a great performance by Luke Kennard. Then Jason Tatum, the top Celtics player, he recently topped Larry Bird old record, where it's the most 30-point games in one season. Now Tatum is number 1, so obviously he's just been knocking down a lot of these Larry Bird records, which is nice, because everybody always said Larry Bird was the best Celtic ever, and Tatum's proven that he could be the best Celtic ever in only his second contract. So obviously he's doing it in a lot quicker time, a different time, obviously more offensive type of game nowadays, but either way, he's still putting up stats. Then Marvin Bagley III, another ex-Duke player, went off the other day with 31 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks in his game for Detroit. So I'm very glad that he's gotten a second opportunity with a different team. I know Sacramento picked him number 2 overall that year, and it just wasn't a good area or team for him. Good franchise, and here he's been able to have a couple games like this, here and there, and playing very well for Detroit. Hopefully he will get another big time contract in his future, but we will see. Then yes, the Lakers played the other day, ended up beating the OKC Thunder 116-111. Anthony Davis had 37 points, 15 rebounds. Dennis Schroeder had 21 points, 6 assists. And Lonnie Walker showed up, finally had some playing time, and ended up going with 20 points and 3 steals. So yes, it was a nice victory, especially in the Western Conference because you kept a tiebreaker. Now going towards the end of the season, there's only like 6 or 7 games left for the Lakers in the season, and they're pretty important. But of course, this last Sunday, I can't report on that game because they ended up losing that game to Chicago, which I guess is semi-okay because it's an Eastern Conference team, but you kind of wanted to build a little bit of a record. I know Dallas has been losing, and I think they're even now behind the Lakers in the standings, which is pretty crazy, but the Lakers do have some chances against some Western Conference teams like Phoenix and the Houston Rockets and Clippers as well. So they could get a couple more victories. I think the Timberwolves. So as long as they win those games, I think they'll be able to get into the playoffs pretty easily. And LeBron did come back in that Sunday game as well against Chicago, and he still did great. He had like 19 points or something like that, 5 or 8 rebounds, I don't know. And he was coming off the bench, but I still think that kind of messed up with the flow because the Lakers were just never really into it. They got down by like almost 30 or 20 plus points, definitely, and then they were able to scratch and claw back almost to an under 10-point game, but then they just weren't able to finish the game because Chicago was hot. But they will get to play Chicago again tomorrow, I believe, while they're on a 3-game road trip as of right now. Then they'll play Minnesota and Houston. So, like I said, they definitely need those Western Conference games, but any game, any win right now down the stretch is important for them. So hopefully that will happen. And I was hoping, that's why I waited an extra day, because I was hoping USC would release some news about a player, because they put out their football Twitter thing and their even head coach and the chick that runs the recruiting stuff. A lot of people put out those fight on emojis over the weekend, and I was assuming we might get some type of an announcement of a recruit picking USC. But if it's been this silent, it might be for Deuce Robinson, the top tight end who still hasn't signed with anybody. But he did say like April 1st was his commitment date, and that's coming up soon, so we'll see. They probably had to keep it somewhat silent, but I thought I also heard there was another second one too, so maybe we might get some more news about that coming up soon. But yeah, working on a lot of draft stuff. I know I was using PFF's mock draft simulator, and then now you used to be able to do all 7 rounds, and now you could only do 2 rounds and 1 a day. And if you wanted to do more, you have to pay a subscription. I'm not about that. I'm a frugal brother. But this mobile, I don't know, this draft network, some type of simulator. I don't know what it's called, but it's been pretty good. You could do up to 7 rounds and do the full thing and all that stuff. So definitely like that a bit more. Been doing a lot more on there recently, seeing how it's going. And of course it's saying A+ with everybody I pick, or B+, but I don't know if those players will exactly be there, but pretty sure with about a month to go, I think it's April 27th, the draft starts. So I'll be dropping in a draft video here and there for my LA Chargers if they do or do not need some of these guys, especially with, you know, a couple free agency guys coming up soon that they still might be interested in. Then you might not have to draft that position, you know, as I say. So we will see. Thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great day. Bye.